Number 6 on my list of 10 unexpected awesome things about being Catholic. Okay, so this is a big one. Today I'm going to talk about the Rosary. And I know that for many of us converts coming into the church, there's so many different devotional things that go into being Catholic. And when you come into the church, you can get overwhelmed really quickly with all of the different devotions that there are. And I don't know about other people, but for me, I was pretty lost when it came to what I should do, because everybody's got a different opinion. You know, there are people that say you need to do this, or you need to pray that, or you need to do this consecration or that chaplet or this particular thing or that particular thing. And it all gets really overwhelming sometimes, because when you walk into the church, they don't just hand you here's step 1 of prayers that you pray. But the Rosary always seems to be one that everybody has some relationship to. Well, when I became a Catholic, I had prayed a Rosary here and there, and I always struggled with it, to be honest with you, when I was getting ready to convert, because I guess in my Protestant upbringing and my Protestant universe that I lived in, there's this real hesitancy toward anything that's too repetitive. Because of course we all know, Jesus' words in the Sermon on the Mount when he says, don't be like the Pharisees and with their vain repetitions. And what is the Rosary? It's a lot of repetition. And that's something that I guess I had a little bit of sensitivity toward. Was I didn't just want to be locked into this robotic prayer where it was just Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou. And to be honest with you, sometimes when I would go to churches before Mass or whatever, people would be praying Rosary, and it was like they got into this robotic, hypnotic place with the Rosary. And that sort of, at times, freaked me out. Well, I just decided I wasn't going to let it be a stumbling block to me, and I was just going to move forward with my conversion. And as I was doing that, I began to, just try it. But I didn't really understand exactly what was going on. And one day, I was going for a motorcycle ride, which I love to do when it's nice out here. And when I'm riding, I'm always listening to something in my earbuds. I wear a helmet with earbuds in so I can listen to music. But I was listening to a lot of talks, as I like to do, sermons and different talks. And for some reason, I decided to take a break from some of the apologetic stuff I was listening to at the time. And I put on this talk by Father Don Calloway called, it was about the sword of our spirit, our spiritual weapon. And it was about the Rosary. I thought, well, I'll give this a try. So I took off on my bike, listened to this talk, and he was sharing about his book that he wrote about the Rosary. And this talk that he gave was going over the history of it and where it came from and how it's this spiritual weapon. And I was mesmerized by the things that he was teaching me in this talk about how the Rosary had been used over the centuries in different ways, and it was a weapon. And of course, at the same time, I was learning about things like Our Lady of Fatima and how she called the visionaries to pray the Rosary every day. And more I was becoming convinced that I hadn't quite tapped into the full power of what this thing could be. So I decided then and there that I would start praying a Rosary. Whether it felt weird to me or not, whether it seemed like it was uncomfortable or not, I was going to do it. And in order to get around what I was afraid of with this vain repetition, I just decided simply I wasn't going to pray in vain. Because really, I don't think that Jesus' problem with the Rosary was the repetition part. Because if we look in the book of Psalms, we see repetitive prayer. If we repeat the Our Father, or in the Protestant church we call it the Lord's Prayer, we repeat that. Nobody struggles with that. But I think there's something about these Hail Mary prayers that people say, well, it's vain. So I just decided, I don't know about everybody else, I'm going to make sure it's not in vain. And I'm really going to mean it. Well, as I started to do that, I'm like, well, how do I do that? There's these mysteries. I don't know what they're all about. So I just did what, a lot of people in our culture and generation do. I downloaded an app to my cell phone. And it's kind of goofy sometimes, but there's this female voice of this, I don't know, she sounds like she's maybe 15 years old, and she's praying in the beginning, and then you hear 7 people in the background with the responses. And I was like, oh man, am I really going to do this? It just sounded kind of goofy. But I just decided, you know what? I don't want any of my stuff to be hang-ups. I'm just going to go for it. So I started doing that. And I tell you what, it has been life-changing. And I know that might say, oh, you're being dramatic, but it really has changed my life, because for me, a lot of my life and my prayer time has been a lot about like praying for things I want or other people, things I need God to do. But what I'm learning as a new Catholic, especially through the Rosary, is this powerful prayer that doesn't depend on what I'm going through or what I need or what I want. It's a prayer that's about Jesus. And the mysteries walk us through the life of Jesus and the things that took place in the gospel. Our pastor, Father Chris Podasky, this morning in Mass, he said that you could almost survive just on the Rosary in terms of becoming a saint. That there's so many powerful things associated with the Rosary and the mysteries that if that's all you had, you could practically become a saint. And I've been thinking about that. I'm like, I've just sensed this divine word in my life through that, and it's really changed me. Now my prayer is so much more focused, and I've begun the practice of praying the Rosary every single day as we've been called to do. And I know a lot of us right now are worked up about so many things in the culture, in the church, in our own lives. And you know what? We've become accustomed to when bad things happen in our lives, or tragedies, we say, well, our thoughts and prayers are with so-and-so about this and about that. And I'm going to be like really frank with you guys. There's been a lot of times in my life when I've said to people, oh, I'll pray for you about that. And then I've just never thought about it again. Well, now that I'm praying a Rosary, it helps me to be focused in my prayer, to say, okay, when someone says to me, Keith, will you pray for me? And I say, I will pray for you. I know that in my heart, I will have an opportunity later on to pray a Rosary. And oftentimes I'll offer that up and I'll say, this Rosary is for this person or that person or whatever's going on. It's really helped me. And I didn't expect it to be that way. So for me, something that I expected to be sort of, I put up with it and maybe dabble with it a little bit, unexpectedly, I'm telling you, it's been amazing. I love to pray the Rosary. It's made me so much closer in my relationship to Jesus and in my faith. It's drastically improved my prayer life, and it's made me so much more cognizant of what a weapon we have in that. There's been a lot of instances in history where people have referred to the Rosary as a weapon against evil. And I just want to tell you from my own experience, I have felt that and seen the power of that. So let's join together and let's continue to pray the Rosary. Let's take advantage of every opportunity we have. Yeah, I know there are so many other devotional things, and I'm going to get into more of those later, and I'll learn about more of those later, and so will you. But for now, wherever we are, the Rosary is so amazing. So I encourage you guys, let's pray it every single day. I strive to do that, and I'm telling you, when I do, there's a closeness to God I feel. So thank you guys so much for watching. This was number 6. I've got more videos coming with the last 4 things that are unexpected but awesome about being Catholic. God bless you guys.